A lot of people have side hustles that create passive income, right? If you're going to have a side hustle, one that creates passive income is the best, in my opinion, because passive income is amazing to be able to multiply yourself. Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Estate Huddle. We are episode 62, and we're going to talk about ways to earn passive income through real estate in Colorado. And so we've got a couple things that we're going to go over today. One of them is passive income strategies in Colorado. We're going to talk about wholesaling real estate in Colorado. We're also going to talk about Airbnb income potential in Denver. So kind of specific to our market here, you know, since we are all realtors here in the state of Colorado. We're going to talk about how you can do this because, man, there's some huge benefits. We just, on our last episode, we mentioned that 80% of most people's retirement savings is in their home, right? And so how can you create this and multiply it by owning more than one property? And what are the key strategies to be able to do this? So that's where we're going to start. Just a little intro to what is passive income. Do you guys want to explain what that is?
Passive income, what I believe, I don't know if this is the exact definition, is, go ahead.
I've heard it called mailbox money.
I think it's basically income that doesn't require as much labor or work, right? It's a little bit more.
You don't have to punch
you
a
don't,
clock.
yeah, you set it away, it works for you, and you reap the benefits of that. I could be a little bit wrong on that, but
Yeah, no, I think you're pretty spot on.
So, and the other part is passive income and tax code perspectives is if you own a property that is worth X amount of dollars, you get to write off that property over 27 and a half years. And whatever you're writing off versus what you're gaining from the rents, that offset, that delta that comes to you, you don't have to pay taxes on it if it's within certain limits, and that's passive income coming to you. So it's not something that ends up being on the ledger sheet that normally like a W-2 income would be.
Is it the same thing as a side hustle?
It can be. I mean, a lot of people have side hustles that create passive income, right? If you're going to have a side hustle, one that creates passive income is the best, in my opinion, because passive income is amazing to be able to multiply yourself, right? I'm creating another worker. I'm saying, instead of landing going to work today, I'm going to send this property to work today, to work for me and go bring home some money for me, right? So at the end of the year, if you have rental properties, those rental properties are probably worth, depending on where your interest rate and costs are and where the cash flow is on them, they may be worth anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000 a year to you, or more, you know, if it's a bigger scaled type property. But I mean, for your average rental, that's what it should be in passive income. When you factor in depreciation through kind of like what Brock was talking about with taxes, you factor in the write-offs, like interest and other things you can write off. You factor in what you're paying yourself in principal. You factor in cash flow, and you factor in appreciation. All of those things together create, you know, between 20 and 60,000 a year in passive income. And if you can do that every year and have somebody else working for you, I mean, that's a salary, right? For most people that you can create from a property that you're never going to work for. So I love the idea of passive income. And that's just kind of talking about the long-term rentals, you know, which is one strategy that we can get into. And that's just, you know, buying a property, renting it out, and then have that tenant pay the mortgage payment, basically with their rent that they're paying, right? And cover that full cost for you is the ideal situation. And so most of the time you have to put 20 to 25% down to get into that, unless you're buying it first as an owner occupancy type situation, and then you rent it out later and buy another property.
Yep, that house hacking technique that a lot of people are doing as well. So that's one option.
Like, what about fix and flips?
Yeah, so that's another like side hustle for some people, right? They have a full-time job, but then they fix and flip homes on the side. And so what fix and flipping will do is it will create income, right? That's, I think, more earned. It's not passive income because you're going out and you're acquiring the property for less than market value, fixing it up, and then selling it, right, and making a profit on that. And so it's very labor intensive. It's not as easy as some people think, but that's a way that you can earn some more income in real estate. I think the passive element of it is when you buy a rental, someone else is paying that rental for you, and then you can not set it and forget it, but you could turn it over to a property manager and almost forget it and watch the checks come in every month, and eventually that mortgage is going to be paid off, right? And then the small gains that you may have had monthly turn into big gains monthly, and I know people that have paid off properties and now all of a sudden they have $10,000, $15,000 of passive income every month coming in that other people are paying for them on their properties that they live in. So that's the ideal goal, is to pay those off, and then it gets exponentially better once you get to that point. So that's just one passive income strategy, is long-term rentals, right? We haven't talked about short-term rentals is another one. What do we mean by that when we say short-term rentals, guys?
Like an Airbnb income in particular in Denver. So there's some potential there. So that is something that's turning over at a higher rate. So typically long-term rental is like a 1-year lease. So a short-term rental can vary. It can be, a week stay. It could be, 3 months here. And it varies. It depends on what you're looking for. And the higher the turnover, obviously, the cleaning fees and a little bit more overhead and labor intensive that it's going to be.
Yeah, definitely. To people that are unfamiliar with Airbnbs, why would anyone come and stay in a city like Denver and not stay in a hotel? Like, why would they want to stay in a place that's a normal house?
I met somebody yesterday. They didn't do it for here, but they did a 2-month Airbnb for their daughter, so that she was contemplated moving someplace, New York City. And so they got an Airbnb for 2 months so she could try it. And it's a lot less expensive than a hotel for that.
That's pretty smart, actually. Just kind of get a
feel of
where you want to be.
of the city. So
Yeah.
I think Denver offers a lot to stay for 2 months and see if it fits you.
Yeah,
Because we have a lot here to offer.
definitely.
You could have just a short-term work thing. Let's say you're part of the crew that's putting in all the new fiber, and for all the fiber, all the internet connections and stuff like that, you're going to come out here. It's a great place to stay. Now you get some amenities, so you can cook at home, right? What are the things that the hotel room don't offer you, right?
Yeah,
So you've got a opportunity for a full kitchen. You've got separate bedrooms where you can kind of split things up instead of just one large room. There's a lot of advantages of that as well. So if you're going to be here for 2 to 3 months and you may be on a budget or something like that, and you want to cook your own food, that's another opportunity there for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what makes it a short term? Is there a time?
Yeah, anything less than 6 months
Less than
is
6
considered a
months
short
after
term.
that, it's okay.
Yep. So anything that
Corporate
has
rentals or
yep.
things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, anything that has an HOA, you need to check with the HOA on and local laws to see if there's any restrictions on these, because sometimes there are, and cities or HOAs don't want people moving in and out every 4 days or whatnot, and so they restrict it and say no less than 6 months. And so in that case, if you own a property there, you can only do a long-term rental. But if you do short-term rentals, you think about it, if you can charge by the day, right, and you can fill the vacancy, like a 45% occupancy rate on Airbnb is actually pretty good, just to put it into perspective. So if you can crush it and have like 65, 70% occupancy, then you're going to be making like more money than you would normally make on a long-term rental.
Yeah.
There's some higher expenses, but there's also a lot more income coming out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the other thing is, I know we mentioned it, but kind of reiterating it, is making sure you know through your HOA, but also your town. Like, there's more towns in Colorado now and cities in Colorado that are starting to regulate this a little bit more. And I wouldn't say cracking down, but it's becoming a little bit more difficult to have a short-term rental.
And they go through permitting processes,
Yep.
and they're helping check that the caliber of the property is going to be to a certain level as well. So,
but I have heard multiple amazing success stories through VRBO, Airbnb, just these short-term rental avenues that people can get on and stay for a little bit. So, that 30 to 50%, that's what makes people cash flow. If you can get better than, like, depending on what you price it at, but better than, I think the average was like 30%. If you can get more than 30% of the year booked up,
Yeah.
you're making good money.
Yep.
You're going to pay your mortgage.
And so on these, people are moving in and out like every 3 to 7 days most times. And so you want to make sure that if you own a property like this, that you're up for a little more hands on deck. You know, you can turn them over to a property manager that does all this for you and takes a percentage of the revenue. Usually it's around like 10 to 15% of the revenue to manage everything for you and hire the cleaners, coordinate everything. Cause every time it has to be cleaned, sheets have to be changed. You got to keep things sanitary. And so it is a little more work and legwork to do this and more intense, you know? And so some people do this on their own. It's just, you know, you got to plan for that and be up for it.
Not as passive that way.
Exactly. Yeah. Not as
That's more
passive.
employment.
Long-term rentals, smaller gains, but great over time. It's exponential over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, more
And so,
long-term gain.
Yep. More of a long-term hold. Yep. For sure. So, and the other things to consider are seasonality. You know, some people buy a great, property in the mountains planning on ski traffic all year long, but guess what? It doesn't snow all year long. We have seasons where there's no snow. There's kind of dead times, honestly.
Yeah, the mud seasons where the
Yep.
snow is melting or
The fall, the late spring are kind of dead. You know, the summer is pretty good up there, and so is the winter. But just, you know, plan for that if you're looking at a mountain property. In Denver, maybe some people don't want to come here as much during the certain times of year. I think we have a lot of good seasons though in Denver itself that I would imagine it's probably like spring and fall too, that you wouldn't get as much because winter people would still come here to stay, watch the Broncos games.
Yeah, like downtown Denver
Hockey.
places probably do pretty well. Yeah, with all season.
Yep. So I think just that those are a couple strategies. Another strategy with passive income is wholesaling. And, you know, wholesaling is when you find motivated sellers who want to sell their home and then you turn it over to investors. So you make some money on a finder's fee and then you sell the deal to an investor. So in this case, let's say, Bonnie, the seller, is
a great
contacted.
person.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. We all know Bonnie, but she
Salt
doesn't.
of the earth.
She just wants to get rid of her house quick because she needs to cover.
because Clyde took off. So.
Yeah, something, right? There's some motivating factor. She needs to sell, and this wholesaler comes in and says, "Hey, I'll buy your house for cash." Basically, they get together, create a deal, a price, right? And the wholesaler will then add on to that price about $10,000, 10 to 15, and then try to go sell it to an investor off market. And so that wholesaler builds in the price for them to make some money and turn it quickly to another investor who then buys the property and may renovate it and then resell it. But the wholesaler, the whole idea there is just make 10,000, 15,000 and then move on to the next one, move on to the next one. And so that's what wholesaling is, if that makes sense.
And what's the keys to finding those sellers?
We buy homes for cash signs, posting
All over
on
the
Nextdoor, on social media sites, calling sellers, cold calling, knocking on doors. They call them bird doggers, that are knocking on doors. And that's really how it goes. It's kind of back to the basics as far as contact goes.
A lot of legwork.
It's a numbers game, right? The more people you contact, the more you're going to run into someone who's just like, I just need to sell my house now. So, and they're happening more and more in our market. This has been a huge year for wholesalers, huge, and a big year for flippers too. There's more of those opportunities because less investors are buying for cash flow right now for long-term rental holds because of where interest rates are at. But as interest rates drop, the renters, the landlords come back in the game and try to buy
there's more
long-term
margin.
rentals. Yeah, because of the cash flow margin monthly.
All right. What are some legal considerations for wholesaling?
City limitations and restrictions, right? That's the biggest thing to worry about. So you can't buy a property planning on your numbers working out to be an Airbnb deal if the city won't allow it. So a lot of people have bought and been surprised. So you just want to make sure you
Do your due diligence.
check
Talk to a
zoning,
professional.
check city guidelines, talk to a professional that knows these things. Those are all important
should be
before you
step
make a
one.
big mistake. Yeah.
Talk to a professional.
Yep.
Yep, for sure. So I think, when you're considering passive income strategies in Colorado, you really have to break down what is the best strategy for you. What makes the most sense? What do you want to do? if any of these sound appealing, we can actually help you do all of them, and guide you through that process. And so definitely contact us if you have interest and you'd like to know more about either of these strategies, and we can show you opportunities that are out there that would be the best fit for Airbnb, the best fit for a long-term rental, and the best fit for a flip, a fix and flip or a wholesale deal. So we do come across off-market opportunities every now and then too. So if you're interested in staying connected with us, just let us know, and we can keep you on our list of people to reach out to when we come across those opportunities. Anything else, guys? Closing thoughts?
Should be if you're looking to just invest. I mean, I'll plug it time and time again, but like real estate in general is just it's always going to be a great investment, and as long as you're in it for the long haul, it's always going to pay out for sure. And these rentals, and whether it's short term, long term, they always provide cash flow for the most part, whether it's through appreciation or actual like immediate tenant cash flow. So it's one of the best investments you can make.
What was it, 6 out of the last 84 years where we've actually had a downturn in the market in Denver, Colorado?
Yep.
So that's giving you 78 years of going up in value.
Yeah, it's a pretty good track record.
Yeah, that people get a little nervous about housing bubbles and that type of stuff, but if you actually look at the specific data for that local area, now as you get on the coastal sides of the U.S., you're going to see much more variation in that type of stuff, but that weighs into the overall average. But if real estate is hyper local, there's a reason why they say location, location, location. So that's what matters. So you get to come talk to us, to someone who's specific to the area that knows what's happening and what has happened over the course of history.
Totally.
So we've got over 50 years experience with our team just in the Denver area already. So we've got a good history.
Absolutely. So give us a call. Thanks for listening, you guys. And remember to click that subscribe button if you'd like to hear more tips in the Denver real estate market here. And we'll see you next time. So if you have enjoyed what you're listening to and you'd like to hear more, make sure to press that subscribe button so that you can not miss out on any more episodes that are coming up. And also check out all of our contact information is below. You can see us at the dreamsmithteam.com to look up more information about our team and our history and all of the members of our team, and see contact information that you can reach us if you have any real estate needs.
See you next time.